Well, I've done it. I finally beat the game, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I was playing it for ages. This is a long horror game. It just wouldn't end, and I'm not gonna say that that was necessarily a bad thing, but I was quite surprised, quite taken back, because I'd heard that it was 12 to 14 hours to beat the game. It feels longer than that, I'm not even going to lie. I don't know exactly how long it took, but it's definitely not 10 hours. I think 10 hours is the sweet spot for these type of games, and it goes over it. It does. There's no doubt that it went over that. Playing on normal difficulty, and I explored quite a lot. I didn't get all the collectibles, which is kind of irritating because there's no chapter select. But for the most part, I found most things and went down any kind of like secret pathways and whatnot and found where I needed to go. But overall, I feel like Callisto Protocol has delivered on what I wanted. Did it live up to the hype? For me personally, no. Because I did blow it out of proportion. I honestly expected this to be like the second coming of Jesus here, and it just wasn't. Is it my personal game of the year? Without a doubt. I love it that much. It's probably gone into my... I've got like a set amount of games that I play every year. It's probably gone into them. It's that kind of a game. I'm going to avoid spoilers here because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. And I really do think everyone needs to buy and play this game. Don't listen to the silly reviews. I think the reviews are really bizarre. Callisto's got some issues which holds it back from being what I wanted from it. It's not a disappointment in any way, shape or form. But I think people need to understand that Striking Distance, this is their first game. Sure that each individual dev this isn't their first game, but like as a team, it's their first game. And for them to put out a game of this caliber, it's insane. Is it as good as the first Dead Space for me? No. But I think it would be silly to say that in the first place because, I mean, the game's just come out. Let's calm down, people, before we start saying stuff like that. But is it a really, really good game? Yes. Are there issues? Absolutely. There's some serious bugs, audio bugs, in the sense of I couldn't even listen to the audio files in the game, so there's a big chunk of story that I didn't even get. Frame rate issues, graphical glitches, jank, the camera's all over the place during combat. When you're fighting, because it's melee focused, I don't think people understand this. Callisto Protocol isn't a shooter. It's not like Dead Space. You're not going to be shooting things. You're going to be hitting things with melee weapons. But it's designed for one-on-one, and when there's multiple enemies, it gets a little bit messy. You've got to create distance then. And I mean, that could just be me being like so stubborn where it's like I want to stay toe-to-toe with these enemies, and I'm going to plant my feet. I'm just going to swing. Takes a little bit getting used to because the dodge mechanic's literally on the movement stick, so you're going to be either move left or move right, and you can't move the same way twice or it hits you. There's a little bit of getting used to it, but once you get the swing of it and you get the hang of it and you're in there and you've got control, there's nothing like it, man. I can't think of any game that's done this in recent memory, and people keep comparing this to Dead Space, and sure, it's got its inspirations because, I mean, look at the pedigree of the development team. It's not Dead Space. It's sort of like Dead Space, but it's its own thing, and there's nothing like it. I can't play another game that's like Callisto. I can't fire up, name a game. It doesn't exist. That's why Callisto's good, and I feel like people aren't giving it enough credit for being different. Kind of get a little bit bland, sure, because you're doing the same stuff over and over again. You are. The enemy variety's not that great. What you are hitting is good, though. There's no denying that. When you're hitting certain enemies, they look awesome, and the impact of the strikes, it does deliver. The goal's there. Visuals are there. It's just all around a good game, and it's got a good variety of like guns that it gives you. It doesn't give you too many weapons. And there was a bit in the game that I was like, God, I really wish I had a grenade. But there was no grenade, so I didn't have anything to work with there. I feel like it's got more in common with Resident Evil 2 Remake than it does with Dead Space, to be honest. And that doesn't mean you're going to be backtracking like Metroidvania style through a map system. It's a very, very linear game. And if I could fault it, in early stages of the game, there is way too many vents. Like every 5 seconds you're in a vent, and it's like, do you remember Final Fantasy VII Remake? where every 5 seconds you were climbing a ladder. It's like that, but with vents. And if I called it out back then, I'm going to call it out here. There are issues, there are technical issues, but the positives outweigh the negatives by a fucking mile. I have an absolute blast playing this game. Are the characters good? They're okay. Nothing really memorable there. Writing's not really there. Storyline, it's interesting, sort of, but it is very, like, been there, done that kind of thing with, like, the big, like, evil corporation sets off fucking biological weapon causing super zombie monster things. It's like, yeah, we've been there, done that. Like I said, more Resident Evil, less Dead Space. It's like Resident Evil in space, honestly, with the storyline. But it was so good. Like, I had such a blast playing it. It's long. There's a lot to do, and like tension-wise, like I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh God, I was terrified playing this game." Not even close. But I feel like I'm desensitized to this kind of thing, and I think most of my viewers probably are. So you're going to be in the same boat as me. But the atmosphere is good. It delivers in that aspect. It's just like the scares are a bit cliche, and any kind of jump scare that attempts was an absolute fail. If I'm being honest, like, come on, step your game up. Those jump scares were terrible. But other than that, and obviously the frame rate issues and stuff like that, the game's just awesome. I want more. And I feel like we need to support these types of games. If this game interests you in any way, and you saw the reviews of the 7 out of 10s in that GameSpot 5 out of 10, it was horrendous. I don't know what they were playing. I haven't read these reviews yet. Maybe I'll look at them and we'll talk about them and see what I agree with and what I don't agree with. But from my standpoint, there's nothing like it. It's definitely got inspirations from a lot of the big boys in the industry. It delivers on visceral combat, pun intended. The visuals are good. Look at the gore. The gore is so satisfying. The weapons are so satisfying. I like the environments. I like the way things worked. Sure, the camera sucks and there's a little bit of jank, but Callisto's delivered. It just has. It's an easy 4 out of 5 for me with this game. Awesome game. I loved it. I think you should play it. I don't think you should wait. And apparently there's more content coming, so I'm all for it. Give me more Callisto any day of the week. Alright, people, that's all I got. I'll catch you later.